Happy New Year. Happy New Year, and I'm so glad, well, that we finally got through all the holidays. I hope you're not worn out. I hope your holidays were great. I just had a very quiet and calm holiday that was good. I didn't even get much Christmas decoration up. Oh well, that just means I didn't have to take much down. How about you? Well, I'm Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And of course, I want to thank you for tuning back in. I want to invite all the new people who have, by chance or happenstance, found me. I just wanted to let you know you're much appreciated, and I'm so glad that you're going to come and join us this year. And of course, to everyone else, glad you're back. And we got a lot to get done this year, a lot of ideas. I'm just happy that we finally are back to normal. We can kind of slow it down and see what the year's gonna bring. Like I say, I hope your family's well. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're ready to get started for this year. It's cold here. Of course, I'm down in the hot, not so hot, ATL. I don't know what the weather is like where you are, but at least we didn't have the ice and snow so far like we had last year. You remember? It just shut us down because we didn't know what to do. But anyway, it's just cold here, so I don't know how it is where you are. But it's great knitting and crochet weather, and that's what we're about. That's what I'm about here at Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. I just love to knit and crochet, and I just like to share because I enjoy it. And now I can, like I say, share it with you. Well, let's see. I got a lot to go through for this year. I'm holding this yarn because in a little bit, you can see from the pictures, I've been busy. I've been lazy too, but I've been trying to stay busy. So let's get started, and let me tell you what's going on with me. Well, what's new with me? Let's see. Well, first of all, I've got some new friends. I was over at Hancock's, my local store again. Ran into a very sweet lady. We were checking out at the checkout counter, and got to talking, and she was, showing me things that the yarn she'd bought, and I was buying yarn, and her name is Norma. So hello, Norma, and Happy New Year to you. I hope your crochet items are going to turn out beautiful. I hope you were able to find me here at Jay's Knit and Purl Jam, and I hope you're going to join us. So be sure to tell your friends, and let's knit or crochet together. That's a fun place to be. And then, of course, I was over at Joann's. Now, I stayed away. If you saw the last video, Jude and I did a little Joann Christmas surprise. Well, I stayed away. I did not shop during the last few days, Christmas Eve and all of that. They had great coupons, but I said no. I just refused to go. So I waited about 2 weeks before I went back to the store. And, I really didn't need anything. And all the yarn was 25% off, so you really couldn't use any coupons. But while I was in the store, a lady came up, and we were looking at books, and we started talking. And she said, Michael's has all of their store yarn, the loops and whatever it is. They had it all half price. I said, really? She says, it's been all week, so I don't know how much you've got left. She said, I just came from there, and she says, it goes through the weekend. Well, of course, I made a beeline out the door. Like I said, our stores are right together. Michael's, Joann's, and then Hobby Lobby. And so I made a beeline and got right over there to Michael's. No, there were plenty left. There was plenty left. And I'll show you some of the yarn in just a minute. Oh, but I made a killing. I couldn't resist. And I had to just talk myself through it. I said, well, I'm going to buy this yarn eventually. Why not buy it while it's on sale? I can always hit myself when I see it on sale, then say, oh, well, you don't need it right now, buy it later. Then when it goes off sale, I want it. No more doing that. I bought it. And when you see the pretty colors, you bought it too. So I don't feel bad. So anyway, so I went to Joann's, and let's see, who did I meet at Joann's? Well, I ran into a mother and a daughter. And they were shopping and looking at yarn, and I just really wanted to just kind of get in and get out. Like I say, everything was on sale, so you couldn't use your coupons. But I met Valerie, she's the mother, and her daughter Sherry. And we started talking, and they told me that they love to crochet baby blankets and afghans. Oh, and her daughter Sherry even has a line of jewelry on Etsy, I believe. I couldn't quite find the address, but she makes bottle cap necklaces, bottle cap jewelry. I just had never even heard of that. I guess, every time I try to navigate Etsy, I guess I don't do it enough. But it sounded very interesting, so I'll try it again. But they were wonderful to meet. We laughed, we talked, and I don't know what they bought, but I was trying not to buy anymore, so I was trying to get out of the store. And then one day when I was later on, after shopping a little bit, I ran into Dr. D. Oh, Dr. D. Oh, so pretty. Oh, short crop, blonde, natural. Beautiful. I think it was kind of a salmon or peach color, beautiful necklace. Ooh, just beautiful. Over black with a black, like, draping sweater. Oh, you looked great. She told me she was really a doctor of chiropractic. And she was, I think she did knit, or she was learning to knit or crochet some of the scarves. And she was doing some type of sachet necklaces. Now, I don't know exactly what she meant, but maybe I'll run into her again, and maybe she'll have one on. Who knows? But I know what she had on, and she was looking great. Just absolutely beautiful. It was so nice to meet you, Dr. D. I'm sure we'll run into each other again. And let me just say this. And as we started talking and sharing, she told me about this wonderful women's meditation ministry. It's called Tea Time with God. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Doesn't that sound just, like just a calming effect? A women's like meditation ministry, and it's called Tea Time with God. So we're just wishing you the best. Sounds wonderful. And I hope your ladies, I know they're going to glean a lot from you. And it was so nice meeting you. And let's see. Oh, last but not least. Oh, well, finally I met some new people on the YouTube that I actually contact. I try to contact or, leave people messages and but I get so wrapped up in trying to get things done. It really takes a lot. I didn't realize this. Because the way I have to present my knitting, I need to have the projects, and then I need to have the samples ready, and I'm telling you, it wears me out. But sometimes I'll take a break and I'll scroll on YouTube and see maybe some other. So I've been running across podcasts. Now, I'm still new. I thought, well, what's the difference? I don't understand. What is the difference between the YouTube and the podcast? I just don't know enough. But anyway, so I found some that I've been watching. Oh, the Dancing Geek James. Love him. But I've never left a message. I'm still new at this. I'm like, I don't know if I can leave a message. What would I say? I was so thrilled when Margaret left me a message. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know how. I was all thumbs just trying to answer the message back. So, but anyway, so I've watched him, and for some of you maybe think my videos are long, but I enjoy every minute of it, James. So maybe I'll get the courage and I'll leave a message one day. Who knows? But I did meet. I was scrolling through, and all of a sudden, this New York accent caught my ear. Forget about it. I can't say it. So I went back to see, what they were saying, what they were talking about. It was two ladies, and they were sitting there, and you could tell they were friends, and they were laughing. So I started watching it, and I thought, who is this? I've never seen them. It was a podcast, and like I said, I don't know the difference yet. I don't understand all that. So, but I looked, and it said, she said, well, I'm Panda. And I said, Panda? Well, that's cute. And the name of her podcast is Panderville Knitting Podcast, a.k.a. Amanda. New York. I forgot where in New York. She said it, but I'll go back and check again. But that's the name of the podcast, Panderville Knitting Podcast. And Amanda was sitting there talking and sharing with a friend, and they were laughing and talking about the things that apparently they had gone to some knit shops in her area, and they were laughing and talking about their big, their haul and the things they wanted to do, and I said, oh, and then Panda was going over on another video of hers. She had gotten some books or had bought a certain book that she really wanted, and she was going through, showing pictures and making a bucket list of all the things she wanted to knit out that book. I'm telling you, she's got a big list, so you go for it, Panda. Go for it, and I'm going to be watching and cheering you on. I can't help you, but I'll cheer you on. And of course, I hope you're going to show us what you knit. And then her friend she was sitting there with was just a very striking, beautiful young lady, and she was so funny and so animated and laughing, probably more animated than me. I know I better. Okay, so she was laughing and they were talking, and so she did finally give her podcast, and it's let's see, make sure I get it right. It is the Artsy Knitter Podcast. The Artsy Knitter Podcast. And it's True, without the E. So, True, this is Jay. Sending a shout out to you and Amanda. Love the podcast. Love it, love it, love it. Like I did get the courage. I sent her a message and they both answered me back. And I loved it, and I told them I'm a true fan. Oh, just absolutely two just wonderful, gorgeous girls. I just love it. And True has a daughter. Oh, she is just beautiful. Her podcast name is The Little One, a.k.a. Ava. Hey, Ava, you are such a beautiful knitter. I don't know, did you knit that doll outfit? Or did your mom knit it? And she made a cute little doll outfit for her doll she got for Christmas. I thought that was so cute. But she was sitting there just talking and quick as a whip. She was talking and knitting. Look, I can't even talk and knit sometimes. So the last video, I haven't seen the new one, but the last one they were having a pajama party. And I'm so sorry I did not get they had a friend with them, but I never did get her name. So hello to all of you anyway. Hello to all three of you. So two new friends, I reached out and I sent a message. So you see, I'm getting a little better. We'll just see what this year brings. And so, those are my shout outs. Now, we got to get down to what's on my needles, what's in my knitting bag. Well, just like I said, let me just give you a quick look at my Michael's yarn haul. I know, but for $1.74. Oh, I couldn't pass it up. Besides, I like their yarn. I like the, let's see. All right, I'll just start over here, and then I'll kind of work my way around. All right, I have Impeccable. This is Michael's in-store brand, Loops and Threads. Impeccable. And I won't read all the colors. I'm just going to simply show you the you know, because I got more to show you. This is topaz. It's like a taupe. And what was so nice about it, I went ahead and got enough. They had such good yardage. I really like, let me tell you, for instance, 268 yards. I'm telling you, it only takes me like 3. I can make a whole sweater out of 3 skeins. 4 if I want to do something maybe really extra or something different. And I ran across also, while I was looking at the yarn, you can see I've already bagged it. See, look, I'm trying to get myself, I can't let you see the rest of this room, but keep your eyes right here. Okay, look, I found this, and maybe some of you have already used it. I haven't used it yet, but Isaac Mizrahi is now putting his name on yarn. They've been carrying it at Michael's for a while, and I finally bought some. It was on sale, or I had a coupon or something. And it's very, very pretty. So this is just one of the skeins I bought, and it has some pretty colors. It's a cream, but there's color, decorative little patches in the yarn. So I just thought I'd go ahead and pair it up if I was going to buy it, so that, I don't know. I'm not one for knitting a lot of decorative yarn in a sweater, because then you're stuck. You know, you can't wear the sweater. You can only wear it with certain things. Now, I'll take the decorative yarn and maybe do something else with it to match or to go with the sweater. But I don't like to just really put it on there. But now that could change. You never know. Here's one. I'm trying to start with the dark colors first. This is a beautiful blue. Let's see, royal blue, and some more Isaac Mizrahi, and here's black with blue and a little, like a little purple in there. And I thought, well, those two would match up really pretty. I don't know if the camera can see that or not. I don't know, but you'll see it when I use it, because now you do know that I use my yarn, so I will be doing something. Now, real quick, let me just run through. I'm not going to take it all out, just show you. This is beautiful amethyst. It's already bagged. I bagged it already. I went ahead and bought 4 skeins. Here is, I just threw that over there. Oh God, I hope I don't hit the camera. Okay, here's a beautiful gold color. I would like to know the name of this color. Gold. Well, imagine that. Gold. So I've got 4 skeins of that, all bagged and ready to go. That is really pretty. I'm looking forward to using that. Okay. Here's a beautiful, I guess lavender, or, yeah, they call it lavender. I have eggplant. I just showed you that. Well, that was amethyst. So this is the lighter version. This is lavender. You see, the colors are so beautiful. I couldn't resist. Look at this one. Oh, it's not red. I don't know what the camera's showing it up to be, but it's more of a rich orchid or something like that. I can't read through the plastic good. But isn't that pretty? Look at that. I have 4 skeins of that. All right, let's see. Oh, look at this. Oh, here's like a teal. Let's see if I can find the name. Aqua. I guess that. And see, I found when I was bagging this, I found some, like a stray skein of yarn. And I thought, oh, that matches. So what I do, I go ahead and as I'm bagging, if I see something that's going to match it, maybe it's a skein that I have that, you know, maybe I can't remember what was the purpose, or maybe it was just leftover skein. I go ahead and bag it. If it matches, I can always make a scarf or something to go with the sweater. So see, I don't have to look for anything. Okay, here goes another one. Here's this beautiful soft pink. And I don't know what the color is. Rose, I guess. It's already bagged. I have 4 of those. Isn't that pretty? Okay, one more. Oh, look, you know I'm a green person. Look at this one. Oh my gosh. I love this. Soft fern. Look at that green. Just waiting for the spring. So, Jay already broke her rule. She already broke her New Year's resolution. Look. But for $1.74 a skein, 268 yards in a skein. I'm sorry. That's just the way I see it. That's the way I see it. Look, while you're still looking, I'll be knitting and crocheting because I've already got it already bagged and ready to go. So what do you think of that? Isn't that pretty? Okay. Now, before we can get on to the next segment, what's on my needles, what's in my knitting bag? You saw from the pictures, Jay has a new sweater. In fact, I have two. Well, I've been trying to, each time I'm trying to, bring in a little more of the way that I, kind of come up with ideas or use my stitch books or, come up with designs. And like I say, I'm not an expert. I'm not on Ravelry. I don't work for a magazine. I don't work for a yarn company. It's just something I've always done. I've just always done it. And then my son asked me to share it. And that's all I'm doing. And but this is a beautiful sweater with the bracelet-like sleeves. But as you see in the pictures at the beginning of the video, it's really 2 for 1. You start out as a vest, and then I'll show you how to pick up the stitches around the arm space, the armhole, and simply add your sleeves. You can stop, so this project is going to be great. It'll be great for a beginner. You can stop and just have a plain vest. Or you can learn how to pick up the stitches and add the sleeves. And on the vest, I go ahead and do a nice lace pattern called the Snowdrop. But anyway, I wanted you to see, and of course, Jay's signature. My signature corsage. Out of that yarn, But I did want you to see in the back. You can't really see the decoration in the back, I think, because of the color. But you will be able to see it on the ivory, the white one. But it's nice and warm. And we'll get into the yarns, and I'll get into everything you need. And guess what? We're going to change needles. This is bulky weight yarn. So I'm going to go through my steps. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I want to show you exactly what I did and how I came up with my fit and how you can come up with your fit and how easy it is to knit 2 for 1. Either a vest or a beautiful bracelet, sleeve, sweater. I don't really do cardigans. I'm not into the buttons and all that. I finally start worrying about my figure and just start letting it be open. I used to, want to have to cover up, and now I'm just saying, you know what? I got more, look, I got to get on with this. So I'm not into a lot of what you just call as a cardigan or sweat, where you're going to do all the buttons. Nope. I like this nice, loose fit, relaxed fit. Looks really nice, and it's a fun piece to knit. And I hope you like it. So, I'm simply going to call this one, I don't even know what I'm going to call it. Well, the pattern is a snowdrop, so Jay's Snowdrop 2 for 1 vest or sweater. What do you think of that for 2015? Let's get started. Okay, so now we're going to get started. And I'm taking, kind of walking you through, like as usual. And this particular vest is still part of our square sweater theme. So we really start on the back lower edge. We will be doing 1 by 1 rib, and then we'll come up the back and then over the shoulders, and now I'm showing you the front, of course, over the shoulders and down, and then we will add a decorative stitch, and this is the snowdrop stitch, and of course I'll show you where I got the stitch out of the stitch book, and I'll show you how to center your pattern. And as you can see, or you can tell, we will add increases when we come up the back. We're gonna bind off so many stitches for our neck. Well, to make the front, you know, to get it back to the right size, the right number of stitches, we're gonna add those stitches back in increases. But I'll show you how I do it really simple so that you hopefully can understand it and it won't be hard for you. Sometimes that gives people trouble, you know, when they have to increase and then they lose track. So I'll show you the way I do it to make it really easy. And as you can see, we continue to increase to add as many stitches back as we need to from where we bound off the neck. And we'll make each side equal, and as you can see, and then of course we will end in the same 1 by 1 rib that we started the vest in the back. Oh, that's I picked that fragrance up there, the Moonlight Path. Oh, it smells real good. Bath and Body. So I threw that in there. But there is Jay's 2 for 1. Isn't that pretty? Snowdrop vest, or we could add sleeves and make a sweater. As I said before, I'm not really a cardigan person, into button up everything. I spent years trying to cover up everything. Now I'm old enough, I like, oh, let it all fly. Hey, it is what it is. And I'm too busy. I got other things to do to worry about that. And I enjoy knitting, and I think you'll like this knit. Isn't that pretty? Okay, of course I'll show you the one with the sleeves in too. This one just shows up so pretty because it's light, you know, because of the color. All right, let's get started. Okay, like I said, we're gonna change yarns, we're changing needles, we're moving into a different weight yarn. So guess what? We have to come up with our size again. But you know, each time I think that I'm able to share this, and I will keep doing it, I think I can make it clearer, and I think I can do it in less steps, and hopefully, you know, it will just be easier to understand. So, for instance, here we go. All right, we have been using medium weight yarns. You know, yarns, and the easiest way to just say it is we just look for the 4, and normally each band will give you a suggested needle to use, and most of our yarn I have called for 8. Vanna calls for 9s, but it's in that range of 8, 9s, and 10s. Those are I call them my form-fitting sweaters that are not meant to really have that you really wear things under, like turtlenecks or anything. They're really nice body-fitting sweaters, and I use medium weight. Okay, now I want to go more to, it's cold here, like I said, in hot ATL, so we have to move into our more bulkier weight yarns, and of course, you know, they're meant to be worn open in the front with turtlenecks or other sweaters underneath them. And this is why I'm moving to the next yarn. And the size that I use with the bulky weight, because most of them do call for either a 10, I love 10.5s, or 11s, but my favorite is 10.5. Needles, US size 10s, 10.5, or 11. Okay, and the yarn on the white sweater is, whatever happened to this yarn? Whatever happened to Jiffy? What is it? Do you have something against Jiffy? I love Jiffy Yarn, remember? Look, it's like a poor man's cashmere. Jiffy Yarn. Well, Jay's bringing Jiffy back. Jay's bringing Jiffy back. Look. Well, I couldn't resist. It was on sale. It's easy to get. And, you know, if you're trying to share how to make something, you know, to pick a yarn that half the people can't find, or, you know, or you're going to have to spend a whole arm and a leg to get, that's not practical. You can always do another yarn. I'm just walking you through the steps. So I'm using Jiffy for this project. And the second sweater, one with the sleeves, I went to Lines brand tweed stripes. Oh, I love this. I had not used it before, and I bought a whole bunch of different colors. And of course, in our little window, I call it my window to tell me the weight of the yarn, it's a 5. Jiffy, of course, is a 5. That's how we know that we're changing the needle size and the weight of the yarn. I don't go into all the other yarn fabrics. I don't spin or dye or do any of the other things. I just use yarn that's easy to get, it's accessible to everyone, and it's at a good price. Okay, so we know that we're going up to bulky weight yarn because the 5 tells us it's bulky weight. On the band, this suggests U.S. needle size number 10. And on this Bandline brand, they also suggest U.S. needle size number 10. Now, let's talk a minute. You remember, and of course, we've talked about gauge and everything before. And, you know, not without having to just go back over everything. It's impossible. But as I go on, I will always try to make this step easy and hopefully just a little review. All right. To find a gauge, you simply need a nice swatch of fabric. So this is one I've already started knitting as I'm working on this sample. And since I work, I don't really worry too much about the length because I really go by inches. I do everything by inches instead of by stitches. But I do need to know how many stitches do I get to an inch for a particular yarn on a particular size needle. On our medium weight yarns, we had about 4 stitches to the inch. When you did your little gauge, or if you did the tape like I started showing you, you know, old habits are hard to break. You might say, well, I'm just going to knit me a swatch, and that's kind of what I'm used to, especially if you're yarn store grown. If you learn how to knit from a yarn in a yarn shop, that's what they're going to teach you. Well, you know, I was before a lot of yarn shops. You know, back in the day, we didn't have yarn shops. And if you did, look, you didn't see my face in there, okay? So we learned from maybe someone at church, or how many remember Vacation Bible School? Or I remember one school I went to, they taught you knitting as a class. So there was other ways to learn. I learned out of a book, out of an old library book. Of course, I could only knit the ever-ending scarf, the never-ending scarf. You know, it just went on forever because that's all I knew. And then one day, years ago, when we was first married, and you didn't have washers and dryers in your house in our little apartment, so you had to go to the washerette. And there was a German lady. Of course, I don't remember her name. I just remember she was tall, and she spoke with that deep German accent, and she was knitting, and I told her I knew how to knit a little bit. I said, well, when I bring my clothes to wash, would you show me some stitches? And she said, yeah. Yeah, she'd show me some stitches, and that's how I really got into it. And of course, you know, I just went from there. But anyway, so I just take my, just a tape measure or ruler, and I'm just going to check and see how many. Let me get me a little double point needle, and I just start here, and I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. I get 1, let's see, 1, 2. This is on our bulky weight, 3 stitches to the inch. Now, I've seen some people quiver about, well, now I get a leg of the next stitch and a leg of... I just want to know about how many, as close, complete whole inches can I get to 1 inch. And on my bulky weight, I get about 3 stitches or close to 3 stitches to the inch. On my medium weight, I could get as much as 4 stitches to the inch. So what does that mean? That means that, okay, I have I got something cute to show you too. I found this. Isn't that cute? Look at that glass. Oh, look, my little knitting punch. I hope that's showing up on the camera. Is that pretty? Look at those needles. I bought those years ago at Joann's, and then they stopped selling them. Alright. Okay, so that simply means I need to know my waist size in inches so that I can find out how many stitches to the inch I can get. And to make it really plain and simple, I take a tape measure, I stretch across the front of my body from the left side across, pull the tape real tight because knit stretches, and if you don't, your garment's going to be too loose because we will be adding stitches. So I stretch it across. And say if your say if your waist is 20, then on a piece of paper or some kind of card, you have to start writing this down because we're going to, in my knitting, we use a lot of the same numbers. You're going to be surprised. Just like when I did the angel wing shawl. Shrug, angel wing shrug. I simply took the number that of stitches and figured out how to cast on. So this is the same way. So I pull it tight across. I write that number down. I normally use 25, but if you use 20 or if it's 27, you don't have to round that number off. You want that number. And of course, you would take 3 stitches to the inch. I would take 3 times that number to kind of get an idea of where I should be. It won't give you, you know, always an exact number. That's when actual sitting down and counting each stitch. If you make if you do a long tape, knit up a long piece of fabric, and then sit and count if you're having problems with your swatch. But normally you can just take the number of stitches an inch times, say, 20. So that will give you 60. Now, if you don't think 60 is, you know, maybe you've done 60, used 60 before and that wasn't quite right, then you'd have to knit up a longer piece and then take the longer piece and actually measure it around, and then you can count each stitch. Sometimes I've done that, like I've showed you in the beginning. I wanted accurate stitch counts so that I can build on that. And once you find this, what I'm trying to show you, once you find that, you don't have to keep doing, as long as you stay in the range of the needles and the yarns that you, you know, that particular yarn that you're using, you can just pick up yarn and just start knitting. And this is how it turns out. Okay, so I took my 10.5 and I used 25. I get about 3 stitches to the inch. 3 times 25 is 75. But remember, try to round immediately as soon as you get the number, round it off to the nearest number. Go up to the nearest number divisible by 4. I'm sorry, I can't hardly talk today. I've been real busy. But just automatically go up to the next number that is divisible by 4. It's going to make your life easy. You're going to love knitting this way. You're going to think, oh my God, all these times I've been trying to figure out what to do. Just round off. So I went up from 75, I go up to 76 on my 10. That was the needle that I did my little swatch in, whatever needle you do. All right. There's 3 needles. I have 3 needles in my group, either 8, 9s, or 10s, or 10s, 10.5, 11s. I know that my 10.5, I'm going to have 76 stitches. Okay. On either side, if you add 4 more stitches to that number, that's going to give you your size 10, 80 stitches to cast on. On this side is 11. I will cast on 72. The larger the yarn, the larger the needle, the less stitches you need to work with. So I started with this number, so to keep in my range, I can go up 4 stitches. If I was using the number 10, that would be where I'd start. Of course, we're going to add other things to it, but that's my starting point. If I was going to use a number 11, I'd go down 4 stitches. Don't know how it sounds. All I can tell you is, you see what I knit. I don't have anybody back here in the back room knitting for me. Everything you see, I knit in real time. And I knit it by my formula system. Easy math. The numbers work. I've tried it over and over. And I'm just sharing it with you. I'm not an expert. But it works. This is our square sweater. And now, to that number, if we want borders, if you just wanted a vest and you didn't want borders, and we're going to say you're going to pick up stitches around the armhole and we're just going to knit to each end of the fabric, then that's the number you'd cast on. But sometimes, and mainly I have been using borders only because it's so easy to get people when you're starting something new or learning to knit in a different way or whatever, or looking at something new. The less work you have to do to get a nice product, you can get people into your thinking, and then you're like, oh yeah, well, I know with a border, it goes right over it makes your sleeve. You've seen that on my other sweater, so there's no, you just sew up the side, and you can make the 2 sides fit together nice and smooth. So that helps beginners to learn how to sew. Now, eventually, we're going to get up to more advanced, 3-needle bind off. There's more advanced things to do, but right now, it's just trying to get through the basic things that I want to share with you. So if we want a border, we'll just add the border. Okay, that's all there is. We will knit up to the neck, and we're going to bound off. Remember, everything as much as possible divisible by 4 by the number 4. So I will either bind off anything from 16 up to 20 stitches. It depends on how much neck area you need. 16 to up to 20 stitches. I can use that feel. Each sweater is different, so I can just pick whichever number is going to be convenient. Or, as you see, we're going to have a number that's odd on this one because I got something else to show you. Okay. But when you bind those stitches off, say if I bind off 20 stitches for the neck. Okay, and I come across the shoulders. Well, then that means the front is not going to match the back because I've bound off 20 stitches, so I'm going to be short, where you have to add those stitches back in increases along the front. And those increases range from 6. You just divide this number, in half. So it'd be 16 would make 8 on one side, 8 on the other. Make them even. If I bind off 20 stitches for the neck, I can go as high as 10. 10 on one side, 10 on the other side. You don't have to always go the exact number. You can leave off a little bit, but that's how you determine, and you'll do that for each front. Well, that was a mouthful. I'm trying to get it as clear as possible. Let's get to some knitting so that it becomes clear. I'll take you through every step, and you're gonna see, oh, I can't wait to try this again. But let's get started. Now, an overview before we start, because really I'm not putting any pattern on the back. So the back will be just plain knitting. And so we don't have to go into a whole lot of the detail of our pattern yet. But we do need to kind of set the platform here of how we're going to start. All right, I've already given you my number of stitches. I'm using a 10.5 US size 10.5, And I showed you on my sheet, the base stitch is 76 stitches. That's the base stitch, 76. And I want to add a border. And as I said before, on this particular sweater, when you need a border, you're going to add the stitches on each side. And I normally add 4. It's just easier. You know, you can have more if you like more, that's fine. But I normally add 4 on each side, which will raise my stitch count to 84. I have 4 on this, on the left side, 76 here in the middle of the back, and then 4 on this edge. And of course, as it comes around, when it comes, by the time you sew the front on, it really winds up being 8 more stitches. But this is the way the back will look. And, you know, of course, I still print a black and white. Like I said, we'll go over the pattern when we get to the front. But I still print, make a copy for my black and white to write everything down. I have a border of 4. I have 76 stitches in the main area of the bag, just like I said, and then 4 stitches, which raises my stitch count to 84. So now all I have to do is start my 1x1 rib. We will do a 1x1 rib for about 2 inches. Now, you remember on our other sweaters you had to have a back length. Mine is 20. These are numbers you should have down now. You know how the setup goes. So I'm going to take, out of that 20, I'm going to take about 2 inches for my 1x1 rib. Okay, and after I finish my ribbing, then I simply go into a stockinette on this particular sweater. This is the back. And I'm going to do my stockinette about 14, almost 14 inches. Maybe a little shy, but around 14 inches. But now your number could be whatever it takes, or whatever you feel that would be, you know, that will fit you. Because I don't know your back length. You might like 22, or you may be shorter. You may only do 18. So that's just your preference. You're going to do your stockinette. That's knit on the front, purl on the back. We're not adding any kind of detail to the back until we get up about 4 inches away from where we want to start our shoulders. And here we're going to simply go back into a 1x1 rib pattern again. And as you can see, we will go across and get up to about 2 inches or so. I'm going to bind off the stitches for my neck. I will continue, then I'll put one group of stitches on a stitch holder. And then I will continue on my left side and continue to go across the shoulder to the front. And of course we'll talk about you know, the inches and everything once we go across. But I like to go leave at least 4 on the back. Then I start with another 4 on the front. So that tells you right there about 8 inches from where we start the stockinette here to go to where we stop the stockinette on the front. And at that time, of course, we will have already bound off the neck. And once we finish the stockinette, the 1x1 rib on the front, then we will start the increase. But now that's a little later. That's getting ahead. So let's just go back to our plain. So here's where we are, and this is where we're going to start. On the very bottom, doing our 1x1 rib. So let's get started with that. As we get started, I want to, though, tell you something that I do, or how I like to start my ribbing when I'm working on my sweaters. And I really, I really like things to be symmetrical, or I like mirror images of things. So, you know, I don't know how other people do it, but for instance, on this, let me get 2 markers so I can go ahead and mark it. All right, so you know that I'm gonna start with I've cast on, of course, a sample of stitches, and I need you to cast on an uneven number. My total number for casting on, I just read it to you, was 84. Border of 4, 76 stitches, and then a border of 4. Well, we need one extra stitch, because when I do my 1x1 rib, I like for it to be a mirror image on each side. If I start with a knit, it needs to end with a knit. If I start with a purl, it needs to end with a purl. So I've added on 1 stitch to my count. So when I cast on for my sweater, I had 84 stitches, so I automatically, it's just something that I do, and I just keep it in my head. You can write it down till you get used to it, or maybe you already know this, I don't know. But when you do 1x1 rib, if you don't put the extra stitch, you'll start with a, say if you start with a knit, you're going to end with a purl, and they're not mirror images. So I always add an extra stitch, and then I mark, make a little note, but I normally just make it in my head because I know it's there, and we'll take care of it later. So I'm just going to knit my first 4 border stitches as always. There we go. I'm going to add a marker, and now I'm going to start my 1x1 rib. The way I like to do it, I don't know if it's correct or not, but it's such an easy way, and I'm never confused, and I always work it this way, and it always gives me a beautiful mirror image on each side. Instead of starting on this first row, I count this as a wrong side row, and I start out with a purl 1, just like this. Instead of knit 1, I always start, if it's the very first row, I start out with a purl 1, which will make this first row the back side. Then knit 1. And yarn in front, purl 1. Yarn in back, knit 1. And when we get to the end, let's see, purl 1, all right, purl 1, okay, knit 1, and we just keep going to the end. It's just something, you know, it's things anytime I knit something, I try to learn from everything I knit, whether it's my pattern or whether it's from someone else's pattern. The whole point, once I decide on doing a project, I use it to learn something, to teach me something. You can learn so much just from any pattern. So no matter what the pattern is, my aim is to learn something. So it got stuck in my head one time. I knitted something, and they, started out with a knit 1, 1x1 rib. Okay, so I did that, but then at the end, I didn't have the extra stitch, and they didn't match, and it wasn't a mirror image, and it bothered me. So in my head, it got stuck that I needed to fix that. Okay, you see I'm coming down to the opposite end, so I see my 4 stitches here that I'm going to have for a border. So I have let's see, make sure I'm on knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1. So I'm ready to purl. Okay, then I'm going to knit 1. And without the extra stitch, you see, I would have wound up with a knit 1. But I started with a purl 1 because this is the wrong side, my first row. So now with the extra stitch, I simply purl 1. Now it is exactly on the same on each end. Put my marker, yarn in back, and now I knit the 4 border stitches. Now it may not seem like much, or you won't even know it maybe at this stage, but I'm telling you, down the road, as you knit more, you will understand. So now, when I turn the work, I am on the right side, and right after my 1, 2, 3, 4, right past this marker, on each end I have a knit stitch here and here, and as we go up, this is where I will do the increase when we get to the front, because I will have stitches to help me, to remind me of my increases. But you will also have this nice edge right along the 4 stitches that you use for the border. You're going to have a nice row of knit stitches that just makes it look very nice. So that's Jay's tip for knitting a 1x1 rib. And then, of course, you continue on. And then on this side, of course, you just knit everything, well, you knit the border, but you start with a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you're gonna knit. Slide the marker, knit that first stitch, and purl the second one. Knit the next stitch and continue. Okay, now let me get my sample that I've got farther ahead. And so here's the sample, and now you can look and you can see that nice row of a knit stitch right along the edge of my border. I don't know if that's really clear on the camera or not, but if you spread it open, you can see I don't have a purl on one end and a knit on the other. They're both the same. They're mirror images of the side. And then there's my nice, and then also it gives me this nice pretty edge on the cast on right there. I can tell that's the front. Look how pretty that is. Nice and even and smooth. And that's just a little tip. Now, another thing, as we start to do this, remember you're going to do your own measurements and figure out how you want to separate your back. I'm doing about 2 inches. Of course, this is just a sample. I'm doing 2 inches or so for the ribbing. Okay, I also know that for me, it's about 9 rows. And row 10 should put me, if I count it correctly, should put me back on the front ready for my stockinette. So I know I can do 2 inches, or I can just count 9 rows, and then I should be ready to start my stockinette, which is just simply knit on the front and purl on the back. And of course we're going to do that for your desired length. I use 14. So 14 and 2, that's 16, so that leaves me 4 inches to go from this point to the top of my shoulder, and then I'll do another 4 inches as I go down the front. But in the meantime, I'll have to bind off for the neck. So the next step is to get some knitting done, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to bind off for the neck, how we'll figure. And I hadn't forgot that 1 stitch. Yes, that 1 stitch, you just keep it in there. You don't bother, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it when we get to the neck. So even though I added that 1 stitch, you just keep right on knitting, because we didn't put any pattern in that, and there was no reason to mess up our, anything. Just keep right on knitting until we get up to the neck. So the next step will be our neck. See you back in a little bit. Now let's talk about the neck. All right, I brought out the original sweater, and as you can see, I stopped my stockinette and I went back into my 1x1 rib, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, which is fine because we stopped on the right side, so you would have just knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1 all the way across. And of course I do remember I still have that 1 extra stitch. Now I wanted you to see the neck edge where we're going to bind off. Like I said, this is about 4 inches, and I stopped to bind off my neck edge. I did it about 3 inches up, and then I marked my neck so I can start the bind off process. But I wanted you to see how the neck edge will look once we bind it off. And then we will go to the front. And of course, I'm going to show you how I have the border as we go across. Okay, so let me go over this. And then I'll go to my practice piece. Okay, on my original sweater, I have 4 stitches on each side for the border, so we just won't even worry about those. All of the stitches in here came to 76 for me. And I had that 1 extra stitch, so it made 77 stitches. Okay, so I always allow, like I said, since this is not a written pattern, you have to set some rules in place. And my rule is to have at least 16 to 18 stitches to bind off for my neck. I allow myself 16 to 20 stitches, so I can bind off 16, 17, 18, 19. I can bind all the way off to 20 stitches for my neck space. So since I have 77 stitches with that 1 extra, instead of 16, I'm going to add that 1 extra stitch and bind off 17. Or at least go ahead and put my marker. And have, for my neck, I will have 17 stitches that I can bind off, which will leave 60 stitches. Divided by 2 will leave me 30 stitches for my left shoulder and front, and 30 stitches for my right shoulder and front. 30 on this side, 30 on here. We're okay. We're even. Okay, does that make sense? All right, now let me get the sample, because of course my numbers are different because it's a smaller piece. Okay, on the sample, I'm trying to see if you could see it better with this little blue towel behind it. Okay, on my sample I have, we're not counting the borders because they're not even in this, they just remain the same. Only thing changes is all this in the middle. Okay, on my sample I have 49 stitches from this marker to this marker. I have 49 stitches. Okay, I have allowed myself 12 stitches, because this is a smaller piece of course. 12 stitches for my neck, plus that 1 extra stitch which will make it 13. Now if I take 13 stitches from 49, I have 36 stitches to divide my front. 36 divided by 2 will leave me 18 stitches for my right shoulder and going up to the front, and 18 stitches on my left. And I have everything marked. Does that make sense? Now, there's always a but. Okay. Okay. All right. It's not a bad but. It's a good one. Okay. On my sample here, I'm hoping this shows up on the camera. Okay. Here are my stitches right there. My 13. But remember I said that I like to have a knit going to, before I do any type of border. I always like to have a knit stitch next to my border. Well, let me show you this. And this is, yes, when you're designing, but this is something you learn over time. You have to think ahead. But like I said, I've already done the thinking in this process. And what you have to do is just get used to doing the idea of thinking on your own and not, relying on a pattern. Otherwise, you just simply go to Ravelry and find your pattern. But if you like to learn more about stitch books and how to make your own little sweater and vest, then that's what this is. Okay. Now, so I have to think to myself, I have these stitches here for my neck, but right here, if I count over 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 stitches. Okay, I want to use 4 of these stitches on this side of the marker. You see my blue marker? Well, on this side, I want to create a border just like I have here, which will go right beside my neck, just like this. I want to create this border on the front side as I come over my shoulder. Remember, the whole idea of this is to knit in as less pieces as possible. I am not you will not find separate rights and fronts and separate sleeves and all. I just don't have the mind for that. I try to figure out a way to knit it all in as little pieces as possible. And so if you would follow this, we're going to come out with a one-piece vest that all you have to do is sew up the 2 side seams and you can put it on. Okay, now, so let's just look. I'm just kind of talking here. All right, so I have these 18 stitches, and 4, if counting back from this marker, 2, 4, I want to make that border just like I have on the edges. But if you notice, there's a purl stitch here. So it's not going to be correct. So what I want to do, listen to me, I'm going to, and I'll show you, I'm going to knit over, right? I'm going to knit over, I'm going to stay in pattern and knit over to this stitch here. And then I'm going to move one, and I think the way I want to say it is, I'm going to move this purl stitch on this side of the marker to this side of the marker, so that when I count back 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have a knit stitch right here. So I'm going to work these stitches across, but this purl stitch right before my marker, I'm going to switch to the next side. This is the neck. I'm just going to switch it over, and it'll be part of the bind off. So, I know it's a lot. Take a breath. It's not hard. It sounds hard because it's new. But if you ever get it, you don't have to worry about all those pieces. So there is something to the madness. I promise you I'm not mad. Okay, let me start to work across, and then I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I've started across my row, and I hope, and we're just going to take our time here just to make sure this part is correct. I've stayed in pattern, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, so I've just knit 1. Now here's a purl 1. All right, now I'm like 5 or 6 stitches from my first neck marker. See that? Okay, and I want to move this purl stitch right next to my neck marker. I don't know what yours is going to be, but just follow me and then we'll talk about it. I need to move it over here because I want to, 1, 2, 3, 4, I want to knit these 4 stitches just like I do on the border, because this will become my front border as I go over my shoulder. And this 1 stitch is throwing it off, so I'll just move it to the neck, because remember, I allow maybe 5 stitches or so for your neck extra, so I have plenty of room to add stitches to the neck. So, and long as the 2 shoulders stay equal. All right, so here I go. So the next stitch is a knit stitch, so I knit. Okay, now that's 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 stitches are going to become my new front border. And if that's too hard to remember, I know we have a lot of markers, but you can put a marker there to say, okay, these 4 stitches I knit. So I just knit these 4 stitches, just like you would do on your regular border. So there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. I normally would do this on the purl side, but I thought that would just be too much trying to introduce you and explain this. So I'm doing it on the knit side, on the right side, to make it easier to understand. Now, we have this one stitch that I'm going to simply move over to this side of the marker. So you can just slip that stitch a minute, take the marker off, slip the stitch back on, put the marker. Now that stitch is over here on the neck. We don't care what's in the neck because we're going to bind it off in just a little bit. We just want to make sure that I have the same amount of stitches on this side is on the right and on the left, but these 4 stitches right here will become my new front edge border, and you'll see how good it looks. Alright, now I'm in the neck section. See, I just moved that one stitch over. You saw me move the marker. Now I'm going to start, before I bind off, I like to give my neck a nice little finish. You could bind off and then it looks okay, but it's stretchy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit right across my neck. Just knitting, just knit across. I'm just going to do a few garter stitch rows on this neck area. So on this row I knit all the way to the opposite marker, and you see I use different colors just to remind me so I won't get confused. You just have to stay in the moment. Once you get past this, then it's onward until we get ready to add our design. Okay, I'm coming up to the marker. Now I have to do the exact same thing but opposite on this side. This stitch on this side, this purl stitch right here, I will need to move it on this side onto the neck area. So I'm just going to keep knitting. Remember, I'm just knitting the neck. Okay, now I will slide my marker off for a minute. Just take it off. Okay, and then knit this stitch, the one I want to get rid of, or put it on this side. Put my marker back. I can get rid of some of these other little markers now. This is what you should have. You should have a knit stitch on this side of the marker and a knit stitch on this side of the marker. Does that make sense? I don't really care what's in the neck because we're going to bind it off. It's in, alright, I just need to make sure all this is equal. So now I continue in pattern. Now I've already knit the neck stitches. Now I have to go back into my knit 1, purl 1 for my left shoulder. It's kind of hard on these little, I didn't get long enough needles, so I can't seem to stretch out here. That's why it's all bundled up. Okay, so I'm knitting 1, purling 1. Here I go. I knit 1, purl 1. Now, you see, we're just back in pattern. Okay, let me get to the end of my row because it's our regular, and then let me turn so I can show you what it's going to look like on the wrong side. Okay, see you back in just a second. Okay, as I was knitting, as soon as I shut off the tape, I realized I made a mistake. I got out of the moment. Did anybody else catch it? Okay, let me back out. Hey, it happens to the best of us, but I caught it right away, so hey, now I can just show you how to unknit. So if you need to back out of something, just simply follow the thread, follow the yarn, unknit, and let's go back. I didn't want to waste all the tape I just made because it was correct, but I got out of the moment and I wanted to be in the moment. Okay, so, alright, we just finished knitting all the stitches for the neck area, and I have the mark over here. Now, just like on this side, remember I'm a real stickler for symmetrics and mirror images, so these 4 stitches after the marker, before the marker and after the marker, we're going to knit to make our new front border. And that's what I got out of the moment, so watch. So I knit, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure I've got it right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. So I will knit the next one, I will knit the next one, 1, 2, 3, one more, and then I will add my marker. I realized it because I had this marker left and I thought, oh, my why is that marker there? And then I realized, out of the moment. Okay, so now this is, let me just knit this one stitch here. Okay. All right, now, I hope these markers are showing up. Okay, we have our beginning border, we have our shoulder stitches. This starts the new border that will take us over the front, over our shoulder, and down the front edge. And you'll see how nice it is to have this border already on, knitted on. Oh, there's going to be times when we're going to do shoulders where we do 3 needle bind offs. We're going to pick up stitches for front neck stitches. So there's going to be times for, but this is just an easy, simple way to get a one-piece sweater or vest. And I'm telling you, once you get it down, you will actually love it. You'll be putting your own little spins on it. You'll be sending me messages. Jay, look, if you just do this, it makes it even easier. I promise you. Okay, so now they're mirror images on each side. Now I go back into my one by one rib. Knit one, now I'm purling one. And then I will go to the end. Let's see, knit one, purl one, but see, that's what's so great about this. If you were in a class, I can't tell you the times I would go sign up for classes, not because I just wanted to meet people. You know, I just wanted to knit with people sometimes. I got tired of knitting at home sometimes, and I'd like go sign up for a class. And I would go to the nights they had, you know, where you could come in, where anyone could just come in. It wasn't a class, and you can just knit on something. But if you needed some help or just for the fellowship. So I would do that at our local shops, and I enjoyed that. And see, I'm down here now. I've knit. Okay. Let me see, can I spread it out a little bit? If my needles don't come loose. All right. Now, everything is symmetrical. I have 4 stitches on this, on each side. I have the same amount of stitches here for my shoulder. I have these 4 stitches that creates a new border that will go towards the front. Then I have these next stitches that we're going to bind off eventually. Alright, so now I'm on the reverse side. And we're going right back into pattern. I just want to show you how it's going to look. So of course I knit these first 4 stitches. And then I go into my rib pattern, purl one, knit one. I just read the stitches as I come to them. And that's just an easy way to remember. Just read your stitches. If it's a purl, purl it. If it's a knit, knit it until we come to a marker. And the markers are there to tell you, stop, think, you know, something, there's a change here, there's a transition. So I'm just coming up to my first marker. Okay, now this marker are for the 4 stitches for my new border for the front. So I know that I am going to knit those stitches because it's a border and this is a border, and I always knit borders. So unless we're going to do a specific, you know, another stitch or something. So I'm going to knit 1, 2, 3, and 4. I knit those 4. I slide the marker, and here I'm now in my neck area, and we're going to knit all these stitches because we're doing those in garter stitch too. Oops, I kind of have a little, wait, I dropped a stitch here. If you drop one, turn on the right side, and I can generally do better picking it up on the right side. You stick it back on here. See, it happens to the best of us. Okay. But I'm going to knit all of these stitches in my neck area. And it just makes a little tidy finish. And you don't have to come back and try to crochet something or try to put something to hide the edge. We're taking care of it now. All in one swoop. Okay, I'm going across. I'm almost to the... Now, that was the neck. Slide the marker. These 4 stitches I knit because they're the border. So I knit those. They're not part of the neck. They're separated by a marker. Okay, now I slide this marker and I'm back in my 1x1 rib and just read the stitches. If you forget where you are, just read the stitches. That's a purl stitch, so I purl it. There's a knit stitch, so purl 1, knit 1, read that one. It's like a mystery. I used to love to read years ago, and then I started having problems with vertigo, and I just stopped reading, novels or books. And but knitting to me is like a great novel. It's like a mystery. I just love it. I don't, I love the challenge of trying to figure out and make it come out like it should. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have that one. Now I'm up to my regular border, and we're going to put the yarn in back, and we're going to knit those, slide the marker, and knit those 4 stitches. And like I said, I learn from every project. I can't tell you, I even started like a tip book or something. You know how you just learn a tip or something from not just my knitting, but from other people's knitting too. Now, let me hold it up. I hope this shows up on the camera. We'll zoom in. I'll get him to zoom in. But can you see the neck edge having this little finish already? And can you see my border started on this side and on this side? And can you see how the how the shoulders are going to continue right up? All right. Let me get a few more rows done, and let me show you what it's going to look like. Don't be scared. I'm telling you, you're going to love this. Just takes a little time. Anything new takes time. So, see you back in a little bit. All right, so now I have what I did to finish up this neck. I simply knit 4 rows, just like you would do when you're starting a project. So I had a knit row 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can see, I have a nice row, 4 rows of garter stitch and knit 1, 2, 3, 4. And then on each side will represent our new border as we go over the shoulder. So let's go and let's bind off stitches, and we will have the back finish ready to start a whole nother side of our sweater. So I'm just going to quickly go across this row. I staying in pattern. I took care of my front border. This is my shoulder, my right shoulder. So knit, purl, stand in pattern, I was just thinking, it's just so nice now. You can just, you don't have to worry about keeping up with the class. You just, it's just on the YouTube. You can knit a section, turn the tape off, finish up one section, turn the tape back on, and just keep going. Okay, now I'm coming up to my first marker. I slide that marker. Those are the 4 stitches for my new front border. So I simply knit those. Now I'm coming to my first neck marker, right there, the blue one. And really you can take that one off because we're going to bind off the neck stitches. So we can take that off, lay it aside. Just make sure you know, here's my neck, first stitch in my neck. And we will just bind off and knit. And that's another thing that makes it so nice. So I need that stitch, I need that stitch, and then I need one more. Then I reach back and lift that stitch. Well, I just missed it, sorry. Let's see, can I do a little better here? Reach over and pull it over. Okay. Knit another stitch. Bind off. Okay. Next stitch, bind off. Put me a little more yarn there. Okay, here we go. Another stitch. Wow, these are the slippers. I just reached in and got these needles, but I will not be using them again. And continue to bind off. I can barely keep the yarn on these needles. Reach back and pull over that stitch. Okay, look how nice it's looking. Nice and neat. And we'll just continue to bind off our neck stitches. And I'm almost to the end, thank goodness. I need to throw these needles away. Okay. Alright, this is the last. Okay, now reach back and bind off. Okay, now watch. That stitch has to be bound off too. If you're new, you may think, okay, I bound them all off. No, this last stitch. Okay, sorry about that. Just as I got to the dramatic moment, my camera went dead. Okay, so I'm all juiced back up now. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and finished this row where I bound off. I stuck a towel here so you could see it. Can you see that? So I have my left shoulder. I have my border, my left shoulder,